All right, pop, 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 another server drop. We're going to give you a short introduction into exploitation using Metasploit today. So what we have going on here is I have a Kali Linux machine, and I have a victim machine over here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a toolkit called Metasploit to be able to go ahead and compromise that machine. But first off, we need to find out what is on that machine for vulnerabilities. I'm going to do another web series on Nmap. But for now, I'm just going to show you a basic port scan using Nmap, but we'll get a little bit more detailed in other web series about it. So for now, I'm going to say Nmap, and we're going to say -S, capital V, and I'll say 10.0.0.100, which is the victim machine over there. And then we'll go ahead and hit Enter. So what it's doing now is going to do what's called a version scan. Now, normal Nmap port scans will go ahead and check to see what ports are open on a machine, but they won't tell you anything about what's running on those. They'll say, hey, it's an HTTP port, or hey, it's an FTP port, or an SSH, but it won't tell me exactly what type or version is actually running on that machine over there. Now, with this version scan, as you can see, it tells me everything. If I were to just do a normal port scan, this information over here wouldn't be here. All I would see is the open ports and the service. That's it. So we have a humongous amount of different vulnerabilities with this particular server. And we could basically take our pick and go ahead and smash this bad boy to pieces. So I'm going to show you a way that we can do this as a good step normally in an environment. Now, it won't always be this easy, but this is an example of how it could happen. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to call up first the Metasploit framework. And to do that, we're going to say MSF console. And Metasploit framework is by Rapid7, and it's basically a one-stop shop for all exploitation. And it has what they call payloads on it. It has exploits. It has vulnerabilities. It has post-exploitation stuff, buffer overflow things. Essentially, it's kind of like this. If I were to go ahead and find, I don't know, let's pick on this one right here. Or actually, let's pick on this one right here. Unreal IRCD. If I were to go ahead and bring up a browser, and I were to say Unreal IRCD vulnerabilities, okay? That is an extra step that I have to take to go outside of my Kali Linux environment and look for exploits or vulnerabilities with a particular product. So in this particular case here, I can see that it shows up there are some security vulnerabilities. And then going down a little further down here, I can see that this version of Unreal has a backdoor in it, which says the backdoor allows a person to execute any command with the privileges of the user running the IRC. IRC, by the way, is chat room. So in this case, I would see that this backdoor is here, but I wouldn't know exactly how I could trigger it. I'd have to read into it and read all this information and find versions of it, download, different payloads or whatever. So I'm just saying that's one way you could do it normally, is research Google and find all these different things. Or you can just go ahead and bring up the super awesome Metasploit and then do a search from in there. Why? Because Metasploit already comes with a ton of exploits already built in. So in other words, it already knows if something is now being exploited like today, and it just got found out today, it's very highly likely that Metasploit already has a module for it. It's always up to date. It's awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for Unreal IRCD, because we had found, based off of our search here, where's it at? There we go. We found out based off of our port scan that this is running on that guy's machine and that the port is open. We know it's IRC, and we know it's a daemon for Unreal IRCD. So we go over here and we notice there are some exploits that are showing up. So we look and we kind of narrow it down. First off, we know we're not dealing with the Linux, we're not dealing with the game Unreal, which is pretty awesome. I used to play a lot of Unreal Tournament back in the day. So we know we're not dealing with the game, so that one's out of the loop. We know we're not dealing with the game, so that one's out of the loop. But here, we're dealing with IRC. Aha. So here is my exploit. Here over on the right-hand side, it tells us a ranking. It tells if it's excellent, good, fair, poor, whatever. If it's excellent, that means it's about a 90% chance that bad boy is going to run, and it's going to work. So we're going to go ahead and use that exploit. Anytime you find an exploit in Meterpreter, or I'm sorry, Metasploit, you use it. So we're going to use this. Let me copy this, then paste it. And what it will do is it will put us into that module right there. See it? Now that we're there, we need to find out what we need to do. So we say show options. Okay, so when we're looking at show options here, it tells us what's required. If it's required yes, that means we need to put it in. And we see they already got the port filled out for us, and it's required. And we see that the host is needed now, and it's not there. So our host means remote host, which means not us, but the victim. L host would mean us, not the victim. In this case, the remote host is set our host, is how you do it, is 10.0.0.100. That's this cat over here. This little machine over there, okay? So we're setting the value of the R host. And to verify that, we do another show options. Okay, and we can see here clearly. There it is. Got it? So in that case there, we know that we have everything set. This is already set to automatic target. Also, what you can do if you want to find out ahead of time what it does, you can type in the word info, and then you'll scroll up and down on it here, and it will tell you it's specifically designed for Unix, and it is excellent ranking, who provided it, and then the options down below, and then it gives you a description of what it is. In this case here, it says it exploits a malicious backdoor that was added. So in this case, what happened back in the day for this particular version of Unreal, that somebody had uploaded apparently a backdoor, and it looks like 6667 is the port open when the machine runs. So apparently every time the guy runs his machine, because he has the Unreal RCD, it opens up that port, and I'm able to, as a bad guy, contact it and directly access it and break into the machine via that back door. So essentially, this is the best way to do things because I don't have to send them anything. If I had to send them a virus or a Trojan, that means I have to implement social engineering and all kinds of stupid nonsense. So this is great because it's already there. Okay, it's already present. So we are all set to exploit it. So we'll type in exploit. Once we have everything set, we type in the word exploit, run it, and then pop, 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 another server drop. There she be right there. So it says command shell opened. When it says that, you just pwn the box. It is now yours. Now, the first thing you do every single time that you pwn a box without question, this is what I always say. There's 3 things you have to do, or I always tell my students to do. This is the first thing is you type in ID. The reason you type in ID is you find out what the name or what the privileges are of the guy you broke in as. Now, if it said 1,000 or 100, then I would probably understand it's a standard user and I probably don't have any root privileges. When it says 0, that means root. That means top dog God mode right here. Okay, his group and his user ID is both root. Usually what I'll do after that is I'll say uname TAC A. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times if I'm not root when I break in for the first time, I will then look up the kernel version of that particular Linux distribution, and I will see if there's a privilege escalation exploit available, and then I'll exploit it and get root. Okay? And then the last command I'll usually run is a sudo TACL, but I don't need to do that because we are running as root. And this will tell me if the actual guy has any privileges. Essentially, I'm in. And now I can actually cat something called etc/shadow. And this right here has all the password hashes for all the users. And essentially, I've just now pwned the machine. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That's how you break into a machine using Metasploit. We'll do more tutorials on Metasploit at a later time.